Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Jeremiah, the 39th chapter. This is at the point where Jerusalem is finally captured, right? The walls fall and are broken down, and the Babylonian armies, right, led by their generals, make their way into the city and fulfill what Jeremiah had been prophesying of for decades now. So this is Jeremiah chapter 39, verse 1, Jerusalem captured. In the 9th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 10th month came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and all his army against Jerusalem, and they besieged it. So the siege began in Zedekiah's 9th year, which I believe was at 589-ish. Zedekiah. Yeah, from 597. If we count down, his 9th year would be right around 589. So that's when the siege began, and I believe it lasted for about 2 years or so. So as it says, and in the 11th year, so about 2 years, give or take, of Zedekiah, in the 4th month, the 9th day of the month, the city was broken up. So the walls fell, and they broke through. And all the princes of the king of Babylon came in and sat in the middle gate, even Nergal-Sharezer, Shamgar-Nebo, Sar-Sakim, Rabsaris, Nergal-Sharezer, Rabmag, with all the residue of the princes of the king of Babylon. Now it could be that these are like today you have the equivalent, they'll say like sergeant, or I don't know, commanding general, commanding officer, admiral. You know, it could be that these are like the titles of the ranks that they were in versus their direct actual names. But in any case, these were the like high-ranking officers in Nebuchadnezzar's army, and so they seem to have been the ones leading the charge at this point. And it came to pass that when Zedekiah the king of Judah saw them and all the men of war, then they fled and went forth out of the city by night, by the way of the king's garden, by the gate betwixt the two walls, betwixt meaning between. And he went out the way of the plain. So when he saw those armies, he said, yeah, no, it's over. So he basically gathered up, his force, the small forces that were with him, and tried to flee. But the Chaldeans' army pursued after them. Remember, the Lord said that he would be given into their hands. So there was no way he was going to escape. Pursued after them and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho. And when they had taken him, they brought him up to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, to Riblah, in the land of Hamath, which is up there around the region of Syria, where he gave judgment upon him. So now Zedekiah got captured, and I believe in the other accounts of this pursuit, it mentioned that a good portion of his army fled and basically forsook him, Zedekiah, that is. And so when we look here, I pulled up a map, rough estimation, but you can see he fled from Jerusalem, got caught right around somewhere here in the plains of Jericho, and then they took him all the way up to where Nebuchadnezzar was, in Riblah. Okay. And it wasn't always that the like Nebuchadnezzar, he didn't necessarily have to be here in the heat of the battle, right? That's why he had his officers or princes lead the charge. Verse 6, then the king of Babylon slew the sons of Zedekiah in Riblah before his eyes. So Zedekiah had to watch his sons be put to death before him. Also, the king of Babylon slew all the nobles of Judah. Moreover, so these are, if you think back, if you throughout the ministry of Jeremiah, you had those that didn't take heed, right? That didn't believe that those that put him in the dungeon, that wanted him dead and all of that. Well, they got what was coming to them. Moreover, he put out Zedekiah's eyes and bound him with chains. So he basically, plucked out his eyes, stabbed him up, whatever the case is. But Zedekiah was now, blind, and bound him with chains to carry him to Babylon. And the Chaldeans burned the king's house and the houses of the people with fire and break down the walls of Jerusalem. So you can imagine them, kicking in there, burning, breaking, killing, slaying, basically chaos, anarchy, just violence everywhere. Then Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive into Babylon the remnant of the people that remained in the city, and those that fell away, that fell to him. And these are those that defected or, voluntarily surrendered onto the Babylonians, them along with those that were left in the city. With the rest of the people that remained, they took them all captive to Babylon. But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left of the poor of the people, which had nothing in the land of Judah, and gave them vineyards and fields at the same time. So those that were like really, really poor, they weren't carried away captive. They were left in the land, and then basically they were assigned portions of vineyards to basically watch over, take care of, and they could live off of that while also whatever they needed to do, to raise whatever tribute was put upon them, they could also give that in due time. Now Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, gave charge concerning Jeremiah to Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, saying, "Take him and look well to him, and do him no harm, but do unto him even as he shall say unto thee." So when it comes to that prophet, that Jeremiah, make sure you take good care of him. Make sure he's not hurt. He's good, and whatever he wants, make sure it's provided to him. Now, why did Nebuchadnezzar say this or do this? Because the Spirit of the Lord was on him to do that. Because it was the Lord. Remember, the Lord said that he would take care of Jeremiah, right? So even though Nebuchadnezzar was a heathen, it's the will of the Lord that gets done anyway. And if the Lord says he's going to preserve you, he's going to preserve you. So Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, sent, and Nebushashban, Rabsaris, and Nergal-Sharezer, Rabmag, and all the king of Babylon's princes. Even they sent and took Jeremiah out of the court of the prison. So they basically finally got him out of that prison, and committed him unto Gedaliah, the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, that he should carry him home. So he dwelt among the people. And Gedaliah was appointed as like the governor of Judah now, having had the majority of people carried away captive. So they freed Jeremiah and allowed him to dwell amongst the people. Now the word of the Lord came on to Jeremiah while he was shut up in the court of the prison. So before he got freed, saying, "Go and speak to Ebed-Melech, the Ethiopian, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel." So prior to the invasion, when Jeremiah was in the court of the prison, right? This wasn't a dungeon, so he still had, once again, like limited roam or limited freedom within that area. So the Lord tells him to go and find the Ethiopian, the eunuch that had spoke to Zedekiah to have him removed from that dungeon so he wouldn't die there. It says here, "Behold," this is what the Lord said concerning Ebed-Melech, "Behold, I will bring my words upon this city for evil and not for good." So the things that I've said I'm going to do to this place, I'm going to do it. And it's not going to be good. "And they shall be accomplished in that day before thee." So you'll witness the destruction of this place. That's certain. That's going to happen. "But I will deliver thee in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, and thou shalt not be given into the hand of the men whom thou art afraid." So when they come through and they're destroying and so on and so forth, you'll be delivered. Okay? "For I will surely deliver thee, and thou shalt not fall by the sword, but thy life shall be for a prey unto thee. So I'll give you your life as a reward, because thou hast put thy trust in me, saith the Lord Yahweh. And why did the Lord say that? Because had Ebed-Melech not believed the things that Jeremiah had said, why would he even plead on Jeremiah's behalf to have him delivered from that dungeon where he was left to die? And so the Lord rewarded that by, preserving his life at the time when the Chaldeans broke through. And that's the end of Jeremiah chapter 39. Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha, Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.